Popcorn Tunes.
Today's video has been made at the request of Sir George Kenny. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a kind and beautiful girl named Cinderella. After her gentle mother passed away, her father married a woman named Lady Puffy, a proud and selfish woman with two arrogant, jealous and quarrelsome daughters. Just like their mother, they would argue endlessly, even over something as simple as a hairbrush. One day, Cinderella's father set off on a long journey. Lady Puffy took this chance to place all the housework upon poor Cinderella. From dawn till dusk, she cleaned the house, carried heavy wood to the fireplace, and prepared every meal. Despite her tireless effort, Lady Puffy and her daughters were cruel and ungrateful. They scolded her for the smallest mistake and never showed her kindness. In her few quiet moments, Cinderella would sit by her small attic window and look out over the garden below. Sometimes she would whisper her dreams to a snow-white pigeon, her only gentle companion. One morning, she quietly entered the kitchen, careful not to wake anyone. She took a few pieces of cheese for her little mouse friends and tiptoed toward the attic. But before she could leave, Lady Puffy's daughters caught her. "Mother, Cinderella is stealing our food," they shouted. "I'm stealing? I would never steal anything," cried Cinderella. "A thief and a liar," Lady Puffy snapped. "What a wicked girl you are." Just then, the little mice scurried into the kitchen, squeaking and darting about to frighten the wicked sisters. Lady Puffy was about to strike when suddenly, the doorbell rang. At the door stood the royal ambassador. "His Majesty, the royal prince, has announced a grand ball at the castle tomorrow night," he proclaimed. "All the young ladies of the kingdom are invited." Jezebel and Cassandra squealed with excitement and hurried to their rooms, already dreaming of the prince. Lady Puffy, determined that her daughters looked perfect, ordered poor Cinderella to help them prepare. So while her stepsisters laughed and argued over dresses and jewels, Cinderella worked tirelessly, sewing gowns, polishing shoes, and arranging ribbons until her hands ached. Lady Puffy wanted her daughters to look absolutely perfect for the royal ball. So the wicked stepsisters forced poor Cinderella to stitch, polish, and decorate their gowns until her fingers ached. When the next morning arrived, Lady Puffy smirked. "If you can pick all the beans out of the ashes and put them back into the bowl within 5 minutes," she said coldly, "then you may come to the ball with us." Cinderella's heart filled with hope. She knelt by the fireplace and began picking up the beans one by one. But there were so many. Just then, her little mouse and bird friends saw her struggling. They chirped and squeaked, joining in to help. In no time, they picked up every bean and placed them neatly in the bowl. Cinderella ran to Lady Puffy, holding the bowl proudly. "Look, I've done it," she said with a smile. But Lady Puffy frowned. "You can't go to the ball looking like that," she sneered. "You have no proper dress." And with that, she left with her daughters, leaving poor Cinderella behind. Heartbroken, Cinderella ran to the garden and sat beneath a hazelnut tree that her mother had planted long ago. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "I just wanted to go. Just once." Suddenly, the tree began to shimmer and glow. A soft light surrounded Cinderella, and from it appeared a kind and beautiful fairy. "My dear child," said the fairy gently, "my name is Liebel, and I am here to help you. Don't be sad. You will go to that ball." "But how can I go like this?" Cinderella asked, looking down at her worn dress. "Leave that to me," said Fairy Liebel with a smile. "I only need a pumpkin." Cinderella quickly fetched one from the garden. Liebel waved her magic wand, and in a swirl of sparkling light, the pumpkin turned into a golden coach. The little mice became handsome white horses, and the snow-white pigeon transformed into a smartly dressed coachman. Cinderella gasped in awe. "How did you do all this?" The fairy smiled again and lifted her wand once more. With a single graceful wave, Cinderella's old dress shimmered and transformed into a beautiful blue gown. On her feet appeared sparkling glass slippers, shining brighter than diamonds. "I look like a princess," Cinderella whispered. "Thank you, Liebel. Now hurry," said the fairy kindly. "Go to the ball, my dear. But remember, when the clock strikes midnight, the magic will fade, and everything will return to how it was before." Cinderella nodded, climbed into the golden coach, and rode off toward the castle. When she arrived, all eyes turned to her. The grand hall fell silent. No one had ever seen such beauty. Prince Leo was captivated at first sight. He stepped forward and bowed. "Beautiful young lady," he said softly. "May I have this dance?" Cinderella smiled and placed her hand in his. The music began, and the two danced across the shining floor as if time itself had stopped. Cinderella and Prince Leo danced so gracefully that the world seemed to disappear around them. The music, the lights, the laughter, all faded until there was only the two of them. But in her joy, Cinderella had forgotten the fairy's warning. When the grand clock began to strike midnight, her eyes widened. "Oh no, I must go," she whispered in panic. "Wait," called the prince. "Where are you going? I don't even know your name." But Cinderella turned and ran from the ballroom, her heart racing. As she hurried down the castle stairs, one of her glass slippers slipped from her foot and fell onto the steps. She had no time to stop. She rushed to her golden coach and disappeared into the night. When the prince reached the stairs, he found the single glass slipper shining under the moonlight. "Find the beautiful girl who owns this shoe," he ordered. "If necessary, every young woman in the kingdom shall try it on." Back in her small attic room, Cinderella thought about the magical evening. The dance, the music, the look in Prince Leo's eyes. And she realized she had fallen deeply in love. Yet she believed she would never see him again. Days passed. The prince, unable to forget her, built a grand hall beside his castle to display the precious glass slipper. He announced that whoever could wear it would become his bride. One by one, young women from across the land came to try on the slipper, but none could fit it. Even Lady Puffy and her daughters arrived at the hall. They didn't allow Cinderella to come with them. "But I'm a young girl too," Cinderella pleaded. "I have the right to try the shoe." Lady Puffy only sneered and locked her in the house before leaving with her daughters. At the royal hall, the slipper refused to fit either Cassandra's or Jezebel's feet. That night, as the lights of the mansion sparkled in the distance, Cinderella managed to escape her locked room. She hurried to the palace hall, where the glass slipper gleamed under the chandeliers. As she stepped forward to try it on, Prince Leo entered the room. "Stop," he said gently. "Be careful. You might damage the shoe." Cinderella smiled softly. "No, it's my shoe. It fits me perfectly." She slipped her foot into the glass slipper, and it fit as if it were made just for her. The prince's eyes widened. You are the beautiful girl I danced with that night. May I know your name?" "My name is Cinderella, your highness," she said. The prince knelt before her. "Cinderella, will you marry me?" With tears of joy, she nodded. "Yes, my prince." And so Cinderella and Prince Leo were married in the grand castle. Bells rang across the kingdom, and everyone celebrated their love. From that day on, Cinderella lived happily ever after, her kindness and grace shining brighter than any crown.